Hey everybody, Grimfables here, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on Endwalker, spoiler-free, or at least as spoiler-free as I can be, and I'm not going to spoil anything, I'm not going to name anything, I'm going to keep this as vague as possible, I'm just giving you my thoughts and my review. But I'd like to open with an analogy. So, one of the first areas in Endwalker that you get to explore is the really vast open area, right? It's a really vast and open area. However, there's one thing that I disliked about that area, and that is the way that we travel around the area. And a lot of people will agree with me. There's areas where you can see yourself, hey, we've jumped down larger areas. Can't we just jump straight down, take the hit, just sit there to regenerate HP, etc., right? That's the way that I saw that area. Instead, they had us go quite a ways around and then go down, right? And that is essentially the analogy that I have for Endwalker's story as well. You see, Endwalker's story is extremely strong when it's at its high points, and I don't mind exposition, I don't mind a little bit of padding. The story is really, really dark, and it needs some of its light points. So I understand why it's doing the things that it's doing and the way that it's going about it. However, I will say that it sometimes feels like it didn't take the threats that it established itself very, very seriously. And that is by way of cutscenes, by the way of quests, that is by the way of the quests, the way that they're handled, and how they're handled in other areas. It feels like two different writers wrote some portions at the same time, and it feels like they chose one writer's story and another writer's story and just made them work together. Like, for example, at one point, you'll be a lot of stuff will go down, and then, like, none of it for the threat has gone away, but you're going around areas serving stuff, like you're handing over small things, but the threat's still there. Nothing ended, at least not with the world that you established it in. You know what I mean? Like if you create all these rules that we need to play by and need to keep in mind, then I'm not going to ignore them for the benefit of a downtime moment. And that's kind of the overall idea that I have with Endwalker. Endwalker is, I will say, when the story is at its high points, it is stronger than Shadowbringers. But its low points, in my opinion, are that akin to A Realm Reborn. And that is a very harsh critique, but that's because the high points are so strong that I dreaded the low points. I'm not saying that these low points don't exist in any other expansion. In fact, I would say that this is on par with Shadowbringers, because I'll be honest in saying that I believe Shadowbringers has less low points than Endwalker does, but the highs of Endwalker are much better in my opinion than Shadowbringers. And I know that's a weird way of voicing my critique, but the strong points of Endwalker are better than Shadowbringers, but Shadowbringers as a whole is equal to Endwalker in my opinion. That's the way I'm gonna leave that for record. So it feels tough to say, because the start is extremely strong, right? It's extremely strong, and then you get to the midpoint after the first trial, and the story really slows down heavily, in my opinion. And there's some exposition. There's a bit of what feels like tomfoolery and stuff that doesn't feel as urgent, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know if that was the right time to, I don't know if that was the right thing to do, because it kind of felt like it dragged out in those moments after the first trial. It felt like it was dragged out, and it kind of undermined what felt like the urgency of some of the situations and some of the stuff that our character perceives and that kinds of stuff. That being said, the ending portion, I will say, when you're building towards the I think I need to check this real quick. I have Final Fantasy open, so I can quickly check this. But it's after, shall we say, the 4th dungeon that I feel like the game picks itself back up and decides we're going to kick this up into gear again. But that's 4 levels it felt like that of a dull point. Because the first trial is not hugely leveled. Like, there's quite a gap between the couple of trials that we do have, but I'm trying not to spoil anything, right? But it's between that first trial and the 4th dungeon that things feel like they're a bit sluggish and slow. And it's not because I don't care about the story that they're telling, it's because there's stuff going on. There's rules that you put into the game. We need to respect these rules, and it didn't feel like the game did that itself. And I know I'm in the minority when I say this. It's kind of an odd conversation that I've had with friends as well. There's a couple of people that are extremely passionate about the story that when I tell them this, they seem to seek that I imply that I only dislike the story. And when I eventually link this video over to people, there will be a couple of people that think I'm talking specifically about them, but I'm not. I'm making a summary. Is like, there's a lot of people who are so passionate about the story so that when I say something negative, they feel like they need to defend it. Square Enix doesn't need defending. And then again, it's also my opinion, right? Because in that same sentence, I will praise Endwalker for its really, really strong high points. But I don't think that it depends on the post-patch content, but Endwalker as a whole, at least on launch expansion, I felt like is strong, but I don't know if it necessarily just falls a little bit short of being better than Shadowbringers for me, because I feel like I enjoyed Shadowbringers just a little bit more. And of course, this is the big conclusion to the arc that we have going on in Final Fantasy XIV, so we're going to have to wrap up a lot of loose ends, and we're going to get a lot of things answered, and there's a lot of things that are going to be talked about, and we're going to get a little bit of fan service, we're going to get a little bit of a padding, we're going to get a lot of things that they're trying to make us feel good about because they've established these things, and that's nice. Really nice, in fact, and it in some aspects, I feel like it also respects some of its characters way better than it has in the past. And they're taken a lot more seriously, they're progressed a lot better, and I feel those are very, very strong points. It's just the down points, it feels so padded at times, and I can't excuse that. Not to say that it's like, oh, I can't excuse it, oh, this is the worst game ever. No. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like I can't look past the padding because they really hindered my enjoyment of the overall expansion. And I don't know, it feels difficult to say because I really did enjoy it. I will say there are I can count it on my 2 hands the amount of cutscenes that I skipped, because it just didn't feel consequential enough. It felt like padding. And I was right, because by the time that I skipped the cutscene, when I went over to the NPC to continue my quest, they continued to talk about the situation, and I got a really light summary of what happened in the quest in that dialogue, and that's it. And then I go to watch that quest back later, and it turns out that I was right, and it really wasn't that consequential. You know, so that's the one thing I just don't feel like Endwalker did properly. It felt padded, but that's not to say, again, like other expansions didn't have padding, and I know people are going to be like a little about it, but yeah, that's my opinion of Endwalker. I've given A Realm Reborn a 7 in the past. If not in video, then to friends. I gave Heaven's Word a solid 9. I gave Shadowbringers a 9.9 because there are a couple of points. There's the Amarang mid portion. Is it the mid portion? I don't even remember. And the Tempest starting portion that I did not enjoy, which hindered it heavily. And then there's Endwalker, and I feel like that's a 9.5. maybe even a little bit less. And it's better than Heaven's Ward, but I don't feel like it's better than Endwalker. And that's my opinion. That's my review. You might be listening to this and hearing that I feel like I'm struggling trying to get my opinion across, and it's very difficult to not talk about why I find these things the way that I do without spoiling anything. So I'm not going to. I might make a spoiler video later where I'm going to be talking about the story, where I'm going to be talking about the spoilers, but that's not going to be this video. I've got my idea across. I've gotten my opinion across, I believe, and I hope that your experience with Endwalker was better than mine, because that's the thing. Me being critical of Endwalker, that's something that a lot of people forget, is that I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to hinder your enjoyment of what you enjoy. If you thought Endwalker was the best expansion by far with no down points or anything like that, fantastic, and I'm really happy that you felt that way, because that's kind of what I was hoping to feel myself, and I didn't get that. I was slightly disappointed. I will say this, I've been really mild heading into this, so that could be a part of it as well. Oh yeah, I don't remember grading Stormblood. Stormblood was 8.5. Anyway. Or not 8.5, it was a little, it was less. It was like 7. But I hope that you got what you wanted out of Endwalker. I did as well. I did as well. I got the ending that I thought we should have gotten. We did the things that I kind of figured, like, there was a lot of confirmation. I had a lot of ideas going into Endwalker. I had a lot of theories going into Endwalker. We're going to do this. We're going to hit bullet point A, B, C, 3, like ABC 3? Yeah, A, B, C, D. We're going to go through all those points. We're going to meet all these characters. We're going to tie up these ends. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I thought they did that fantastically. And I thought that the way that they had some of the trusts come in was really, really nice. But that being said, I did not enjoy Endwalker as much as I would have wanted to. But I'm looking forward to the future, because this is a tough point for Final Fantasy XIV to basically go and continue its story from, because everything's wrapped up so nicely, and without revealing too much and not going into spoiler territory, I'll put it like this. What's the next villain going to be that we're going to have to take down if we have a villain to take down? Because all I can say is, with some of the stuff that we fucking done in Endwalker and in Shadowbringers and in Stormblood and in Heaven's Word and in Realm Reborn, with some of that stuff that we have done, who in their right mind is going to try to challenge us at this point for anything? Who is going to be stupid enough to try to fight us? Because we've done everything. Who looks at the list of stuff that we've either taken out, taken care of, managed to do, like liberating to killing primals to fighting any type of fucking anything at this point, and decides, yeah, I can beat that. Yeah, I'm stronger than that. I would be hard pressed to try and find this. In any case, here's to the future. Here's to Endwalker. The OST was fantastic. The classes, Sage and Reaper, are a lot of fun. I've heard nothing but good things about the classes that did get reworked. I was especially concerned about Monk, but Monk feels very, very smooth and a lot of fun, in my opinion. I could be wrong eventually. I don't have a lot of jobs at the max yet. So that's all I'm going to say for now. Thank you very much for sitting through my little off-the-cuff rambling. I'm doing off-the-cuff a lot more these days because I'd like to give my raw opinion more than I'd like to give my sort of heavily scripted opinion. And I feel like, to be entirely honest, to just quickly wrap this up, I feel like there's two types of answers that people can give, and it's the immediate from the heart answer, which is the one that if you ask me a question, I will immediately answer, and that is my honest answer. And then there's the second one where I don't immediately answer, and I'm just kind of like hesitating to answer or figuring it out more. And that's what I call a political answer, because the political answer is going to be the one where you're going to be thinking about others, their feelings, their perception, the way that they receive things, etc., etc. I'd rather give you the straight up honest view that I have rather than my, well, this, try to make sure that I don't hurt people's feelings, that I don't hurt other people's expectations, etc., etc. I'm going to try to be blunt with this kinds of stuff. In any case, I just see that we passed 15 minutes. I'm sorry, I thought it was less. In any case, my name is Grim Fables, and I hope to see you very, very soon.